Hello everyone, welcome to the Make Meaningful Work show. On today's show, we're having a chat with Kim Edgell. Now Kim, where are you chatting to us from?
I'm in Auckland, New Zealand, Dan, and thanks so much for having me today.
That's right, you're in Auckland, New Zealand. That way, you can tell me so I don't get it wrong, so that works out very well. It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure to have you on the show. So today I wanted to ask you about your first career as a teacher and how that helped you develop your team members at Purple Shirt. So over to you.
Yeah, I guess my teaching career sort of has always guided me in other areas of my career, but it hasn't really been until recently that I've explicitly kind of taken the time to reflect through the Make Meaningful Work program and acknowledging kind of some of those areas in my earlier career that actually have been able to help and inform new situations at work.
Right, that's very cool. So our work to date has been helping you with almost the historical reflection from your teaching experience. That's really cool. So we've got one tool that we use in Make Meaningful Work, and we call that practice spotting. Now, practice spotting is a meaning-making tool, and where we apply practice spotting is it's a key. It's actually represented in our logo. And we use that key to insert into environments. And environments are made up of people, place, time, and practices. So I understand you have a story that you'd like to share. And for those of you watching, we might be able to use this story as a way to start doing some practice spotting together, and also some practice spotting together with Kim's help as well. So what story would you like to share with us today?
Yeah, so a 6-year-old boy who used to get dropped off slightly early in my class one year, we used to sort of sometimes sit down and have breakfast together. And one morning he said to me, "Miss Hart, you know that you're the most important person in my life." And when I thanked him for saying this, I sort of asked him a little bit more around why he felt that way. And he said, "Because you ask me questions, you listen to what I say, and you care about what I say." And I think in that moment, it made me realize that obviously I was paid to teach the curriculum, but that was just such a small part of my purpose. You know, to him, I was stability, I was warmth, I was empathy. And, you know, I knew from then that I played such a big part in actually shaping who these children were going to become.
Yeah, it's a great story. There's a part in that story, it's very rich. So doing the practice spotting as a making meaning tool, I think, to extract out the different lenses that we could use to find the practices and make those implicit or hidden practices explicit. There's a few in there because it's a great story. But the one that speaks to me for this chat is where you spoke about you listen and you care about what I say. And then you talked about that connecting to your own sense of purpose. So I'm looking at, say, active listening in that, but were there other ones that you could practice spot out of that as part of the meaning making for you that has sustained going forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, part of being really explicit about taking the time to think about those moments and how you can learn from that to then inform, you know, other new situations. For me was around, you know, when I was creating the framework for our team development here at Purple Shirt earlier in the year, I sort of firstly took the time to reflect around what do we want to create and what really matters. And it kind of enabled me to come up with kind of 3 key principles that have informed that. So the first one was really around, you know, not taking a specifically conventional metric driven approach, but rather something that really focuses on meaning, tracking potential, improvement, and significance of an individual's contribution, which align to their development. The second key one was around joint formation, you know, being really critical that that individual plays such an important part in creating their own development, as essentially they are the driver of it. And number 3 was around leadership providing the enablement, the tools and the space to really help those individuals perform to their potential in their role. So we were quite explicit about the fact that we didn't want it just to be, you know, an add-on external training at the end of each year. We wanted to be purposeful in, you know, leveraging off our internal capability and actually making sure that we take the time to support the individuals in what they were needing to achieve. So, you know, back to your earlier question, that really helped me wrap that around how we were going to actually create this as a foundation for Purple Shirt going forward.
Fantastic. You know, just to continue on from the word foundation, you know, in our logo, we have 3 branches of the tree. They're representative of a few things, but one representation is founding, fostering, and sustaining. And what I love in that last answer is we've already seeded and got the beginnings of the program not Make Meaningful Work, but the Make Meaningful Work program for Purple Shirt, which I think is fantastic. There's, again, a lot of richness in that last response that probably would invite in some practice spotting, again, as part of a meaningful or a meaning-making tool, I should say. The other part to it, and to finish off today's call, is I think we really need to be explicit in connecting the idea of personal development in reference to uncovering that potential together with not just the outputs that we can measure, but that's important in reference to productivity, but also what we call the meaningful outcomes that we're looking to measure. And we measure around three things. I'll do the 3 things again to the camera. 1 is self-efficacy, 2 is meaningful work, and the third one is around emotional intelligence. And what's great about those 3 things is we also have flexibility for, say, a Purple Shirt to add in their criteria, or to add in your criteria, I should say, which will go towards the idea of a very holistic program. Very, very good. Been lovely to have you on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Dan.
That's okay. And I hope we'll have more, do I call them Purple Shirters? Is that correct?
Purple Shirt as it is.
Excellent. We'll have more Purple Shirters on the show going forward. I'll leave everyone watching with this idea that we're hoping that we can at least provide one practice card from this conversation that you'll be able to download and you'll be able to look at and try for yourself. There'll be some exercises in that, and that will be a lovely small way and a way to seed what we're looking to co-create together with Kim, and what we're trying to co-create with a number of other people around the world to indeed help us answer the question, how can we make meaningful work? So thanks very much. We look forward to hearing from you and seeing you next time. And so with that said, we'll see you next time.